Hi YouTube, it's me Lena, and despite the movie being out for a month, I am here to do my personal review on Avengers Age of Ultron. I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I wanted to do a probably spoiler heavy review, and I wanted to let most of the people that are going to see the movie and be worried about spoilers go ahead and see the movie and not bitch at me. Plus, you know, there's gonna be a big spoilers ahead in the title, so if you haven't seen it yet, God, what rock do you live under? But it's really good. Go see it. You'll enjoy it. If you liked the first one, you will end up enjoying the second one. Now, for everybody that's still here, I did really love it, but I do have my issues with it because I can't see a movie without having issues. So that's just me. Anyways, let's get into the good first, shall we? Anyways, I actually have my list on my computer that I typed out to help me out with this, so I don't just like sit here and drool and say, oh my god, it was awesome. Anyways, one of my favorite things about it was the banter between characters. The director and writer, Joss Whedon, the main thing that he is amazing at is banter and very quotable lines. Some of my favorites were Clint Barton after he basically knocked Scarlet Witch or Wanda Maximoff down. I think he shoved an electrocuting bolt in her head. I've done the whole mind control thing. Not a fan. So I was actually really glad that they did kind of address that. Heck, honestly, Clint Barton, or Hawkeye, if you don't realize, had some amazing lines in the movie, and I'm really happy because in the original Avengers, there wasn't a lot to him because he was under mind control for most of the movie or recovering from its since. So very glad. I actually also really loved his family. I know some people had issues with it because honestly a lot of Natasha and Clint romance people had a really big issue with it because it seems like it came out of nowhere, but who's gonna go out of their way to let everybody know that they have a giant family when they worked as a person in S.H.I.E.L.D. and are now an Avenger, and these people can totally go and kill my heavily pregnant wife and 2 children. I don't think I would be letting that out there personally, but maybe that's just me. Anyways, back to actual lines. Another favorite line was actually from Ultron. I'm glad you asked that because I wanted to take my time to explain my evil plan before he attacks, you know, Iron Man. I'm so glad that was referenced because why do villains always reveal their plan right before they try to kill the hero? I don't get it. Anyways, there were a lot of lines. They were all really great. And like I mentioned, I did really love the characterization between Barton and Laura, his wife, and his children. I did find that personally to be really believable. I know a lot of people had their issues with it, either because they were liking the idea of, say, from the last movie when it seemed like they were setting up a romance between Natasha and Clint, but rather, or that this seemed to have kind of come out of nowhere. But like I said, if I was Hawkeye, the one true human-y person in the Avengers, I wouldn't exactly be putting out there that I have a family either because they could very easily be targeted. Another thing that I did really love was Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, or if you follow the comics, they're also known as Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch. Now in the comics, they're referred to as mutants because they are mutants. That is where they get their powers from. They're actually, I don't know personally because I didn't read too much X-Men growing up, if they're actual X-Men or not. I believe they are. Plus they were both in the Avengers at different points in the comic book series. But they are the children of Magneto, so, and of course because Fox owns, I'm trying not to sneeze here and I'm having a really big issue with it. But of course because Fox owns X-Men, they can't reference the fact that they are children of Magnetos or that they are mutants, so that they had to say that they did experiments with Baron von Strucker, and thus that is how they got their powers. I don't know how these experiments really came about, but basically he's fast, she's weird, or at least according to Maria Hill, whom I also really did love in this movie. I swear she's totally underutilized, but I'm glad. I'm glad that she had a pretty good part in this movie. Anyways, yeah, I did think that they had really good chemistry together, the two actors. I can't remember his name, but she's Elizabeth Olsen. He also played Kick-Ass in those movies, so that guy. Although, big spoiler ahead, why did they have to kill Pietro? Why did Joss Whedon feel the need to kill somebody? I don't get it. And of course they conveniently forgot, you know, the whole capsule coffin thing that Dr. Helen Cho came up with that can repair mortal injuries and crap like that. You know, of course they forgot about that. I don't get it. Convenient plot hole is convenient. Actually, also really loved the villain because, as most people have complained about, other than Loki, Marvel's been kind of shitty with their villains. You know, they don't give them enough backstory, or they're just shitty overall. Or they'll do something like, which was really funny at the time, but now I have a complaint about it. They'll take someone like the Mandarin, who was this huge issue in the comics, and turn him into a goober. Because it's funny and we have to be different from the comics. But Ultron was great. He did have a lot of Tony Stark's personality, which as his creator, totally not shocked by that. Did have a lot of sass to him, but you did kind of feel for him in the end when Wanda ripped out his heart. Because it was his fault that her brother had just died. But yeah, I did really enjoy Ultron as a villain. He's been one of the few villains that I haven't really had a complaint about. But, you know, there's just like, why is he doing this? You see, because, you know, Ultron was created by Tony Stark to be a peacekeeping thing so that the Avengers wouldn't have to go out all the time. But of course he's warped because of the mind gem, which ended up being used to basically speed up his creation. And wound up seeing humanity basically as a disease that needed to be wiped out for its own good. That's where his whole deal comes from. And like I said, he actually comes off as having a personality, which is really good. Something that a lot of Marvel villains have been lacking. I also personally really enjoyed all the visions / nightmares that Wanda put in the heads of all the Avengers minus Hawkeye. Tony Stark got the one where he saw all of the Avengers dead and Steve saying to him, "You could have helped us, you could have saved us." Let's see, who else? What did everybody else have? Oh, Thor had visions concerned around... not Valhalla, shit. Asgard and Ragnarok, which is setting up for Thor Ragnarok, which is not coming out till like 2017 or 18, which, God help me, can I really wait that freaking long? Anyways. You see Heimdall running around with his eyes all whited out, and apparently Loki was supposed to be part of the vision, but Joss Whedon cut it out at the last minute because he's an asshole. And I'm really hoping that is on the DVD as an extra. I would really love to see the full version of that. Anyways, that was Thor's vision. Steve had a vision that confused some people because they couldn't understand, oh my God, what was this thing really about? Well, he was set up to basically be with Peggy Carter. It's like, Steve, you're home, the war's over, let's have our dance now. But at the same time, he's seeing, you know, hearing bullets and seeing dying soldiers and stuff like that when he turns and starts to see something out of the corner of his eye, which is really starting to reference his PTSD, which I hear will be coming up more in Civil War. Let's see, Natasha had nightmares about her past. Sorry, I had an itch. Where you get to see, you know, how she was trained in the Red Room as a ballerina / assassin. And apparently she was also had her ability to reproduce removed, which, you know, really sad. And going into that, Bruce and Natasha as a couple, I know a lot of people had really big issues with this. I, for one, didn't. I thought they did it pretty well as far as that kind of coming out of nowhere. I kind of wished that maybe Bruce had been in another movie with Natasha and we could have seen that develop a little bit. That is my one big issue with it, but otherwise, I thought it was handled pretty well. And, you know, Bruce ran off at the end as the Hulk, actually. So, because I'm not entirely sure why he ran off. It was really sad and everything, but I don't quite get why. I know that they were kind of going to run off together when all this was over with, but instead he ran off without her. I don't know why. Maybe it'll be explained a little better in Civil War. I don't know. Now, some of my true issues with this, I've gone over a couple of them, but just in general, there wasn't enough time spent on developing the newer characters, like, say, Pietro and Wanda. They had a little bit of development, but personally not enough for my taste. I'm not sure where they would have fit all of it in, considering it was like a 2.5-hour movie. As it was, it probably would have been at least 3 hours if they had tried to fit more of it in, although I still kind of wish that they had. Vision barely got any development at all, which I know he's Jarvis, but he's not. Where the hell did the damn cape come from? We all know no capes. They get caught in wind turbines and stuff like that. We can't have a cape. Have you not seen The Incredibles? Where'd your damn cape come from, man? Don't you know? Anyways, I wish we could have gotten a little more development from him, although I did love him just kind of picking up the hammer from Thor's like, hey man, here. And everybody's just like, oh my god. And he's just holding it nonchalantly, and Thor just finally goes, that's mine. Please don't ever lift it again. Another thing that really drove me crazy about it was that it was so much set up for Civil War. Like, a lot of people have complained, and I agree with them on this part, that it seemed less a movie on its own merits and more of a setup for Captain America Civil War. Like, there's very much pitting of Tony Stark against Steve Rogers. Like that one scene at the farm where they're splitting the wood and they're arguing back and forth about why did you do that? I don't think you have a dark side, and I don't trust people with a dark side. Although if you'd have seen the Nightmare, you would have seen some of his dark side. You know, I'm very curious and I'm very excited for Civil War, but I didn't need that much damn setup in the movie, and yet at the same time, not understanding how in the end, Tony Stark's gonna be the bad guy of Civil War. You know, big spoiler right there if you've never read the comics for it or anything, but that's what happens. So, and I don't know how that's gonna end up. Yes, he did retire from the Avengers at the end of the movie, but he retired on good terms, so I don't know how that's gonna work. And also, finally, at the end, why did they kill Pietro? Why? He was such a fun, amazing character. I bet you didn't see that coming when they killed him in the end with 47 freaking bullets in his back. Ugh. I wish they'd have held on to him. I think he would have been a great Avenger. But, you know, what can you do? Joss Whedon's always got to freaking kill someone. Anyways, that's my opinion. You can take it for what it is. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate it, and hopefully I will see you later. Bye!